Welcome again to Ancient Tales for today. Very old book, very old story, and now we're coming to the end of the story. The last time we looked at the cup test, 这个银杯的考验, and we discovered that the brothers 通过考验. And so now Joseph can trust his brothers. He knows that they are truly repentant. 已经这个好好悔改了啊. So we come to another story, and that is a dead son lives. This is number 39. A dead son lives. Stay by as we look at this story.
Number 39, A Dead Son Lives. In the dramatic conclusion to this ancient tale, Joseph reveals his true identity to his brothers, and what a reunion that must have been. Then he invites the whole family to come down and live with him in Egypt. Tears of joy are all around as the brothers celebrate their long-lost brother. Then they return home to collect their father and the rest of the family. They don't go with nothing. They travel with wagons full of money, food, and clothes. Can you imagine the scene as they arrive back home and are welcomed by a father who is completely shocked by the news? Most of all, that the son he thought was dead is still alive. Not only that, his son Joseph is the governor of Egypt. Wow, what a fantastic ending to a long and dramatic story. But it hasn't completely ended, because Jacob makes the long trip down to Egypt. There he meets the son whom he thought was dead for so many years. Oh, they hug each other and weep for a long time. For Father Jacob, it is enough. He is old and now can face death because his dead son is alive. Joseph makes arrangements for the family to live in a farming area so they can take care of their livestock. Then he presents some of his brothers to the king. Lastly, he presents his father Jacob, who is now 130 years old. They settle down in the land the king of Egypt has given them, and even though the famine continues for another 5 years, they have enough to eat. While Joseph was very busy dealing with all the business of Egypt, I'm sure he spent time with his father, catching up on all the family news he had missed. How wonderful was the end of what started as a very tragic story, but more important were the lessons everybody learned.
Okay, now we begin to tell the story. In the dramatic conclusion, in this case, conclusion 的结局, okay, 结局. What does it mean to be dramatic? One translation is 戏剧性的, or 趋性的. In other words, dramatic is you're sitting there and say, oh, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? It's like, this is being dramatic. Okay, in the dramatic conclusion to this ancient tale, Joseph reveals his true identity. 他显示, okay, 他真正的身份. He reveals to his brothers that he is their brother. Oh, I imagine that the brothers are absolutely shocked. I mean, there's like, oh no, that's our brother. Okay? And the end of that sentence says, what a reunion that must have been. 那时候这个团圆是多么好，多么好。Of course, the interesting thing is that the servants were sent out. So now the brother, they hug each other. Okay? Then Joseph invites the whole family to come down and live with him in Egypt. He invites 邀请 the whole family, 整家庭, to come down and live with him in Egypt. Now, why would he do that? Because he is the governor, 他是宰相, and he has money to support his family. Wow. Tears of joy. Okay, 眼泪. We know what tears are, 眼泪. 快乐的眼泪, 喜乐的眼泪. You know, some people cry and they're sad. Some people cry and they're happy. These are tears of joy, 喜乐的眼泪. Are all around. When it says all around, that means all the brothers are crying. Wow, our brother is still alive. Okay, tears of joy are all around. That means everybody is crying. As the brothers celebrate, 庆祝, celebrate their long lost brother. What does it mean, so long lost? Well, you can figure it out. For a long time, he has been lost to 已经不在很久. Okay? Brother, long lost. 失散, sometimes people translate it 失散. Okay, going on. Then they return home, of course. They've got to go home because the father and the family doesn't have food. Then they return home to collect their father. 收集 is collect, right? 收集. That means just they went home, returned home to get their father and the rest of the family. 他们的家庭其余的人. Okay, so they went home to get the rest of their family. But, and here's the interesting thing, they don't go home with nothing. Did you get that? They don't go with nothing. 不是空手回家了. See, understand? They travel with wagons. What is that? Wagons. 牛车, 马车, I don't know what kind of wagons. Wagons, what is it? 装满了 what? Money. Full of money. And food. And clothes. Whoa! You know, they thought they were just coming down to get some grain. 他们就是要买一些五谷. But they go home with the grain, with the food. They also go home with money and clothes. 不简单. Not so simple. Can you imagine the scene? 能不能想到这个景况? Okay? Or 这个图景 scene. They arrive back home. 他们回到家. they arrive back home and are welcomed by the father. They are welcomed by the father. Of course, the father is very happy because he was afraid that he would lose his sons completely. Now they're all returning. Welcomed, 爸爸就欢迎他们 who is completely 完完全全的震惊啊。听到这个消息 so 完全的震惊 he is completely shocked by this news. Most of all, that his son he thought was dead is still alive. The most shocking thing of all 是他以为已经死掉很久的儿子还存在。Oh, wow, that was tremendous. That was tremendous news. And he was very happy. Not only that, 不单是这样 his son Joseph is the governor of Egypt. 他的儿子约瑟是埃及的宰相。What a fantastic, 不简单，非常好的结局 for a very long and dramatic story. Dramatic means 这个很曲性的一个故事。But it hasn't completely ended because Jacob makes the long trip back to Egypt. The long trip to Egypt, down to Egypt. And we're going to be back in just a moment, but first, let's take a look at light on our path. Now, today, Lena,
好，
for Light on Your Path, we're going to talk about something that's true, but I don't have a Bible text.
哦。
没有圣经章节。
那你说什么呢？
Once upon a time, a long time ago, I had a very famous professor, 一个非常有名的教授。
教授，
And he said this sentence, and it's true. The mark of a mature man is his ability to suspend judgment until all the facts are in.
OK， 是不是这个意思？是说，一个成熟的人，他有一个记号呢，就是他要等到那个事实、真实的事情来到的时候，他才做一个决定。就是说，他不会瞎猜一些事情。
Right, exactly. 不要太快论断或做决定。要先看有没有所有的事实。
哇，
才做这个。
这个是很好的一个提醒啊。
Yes, and in this case, we have to wait, and Joseph had to wait, Jacob had to wait, everybody had to wait, but finally, how do you say it in Chinese? 摆平了。
一切都归于平静了。
Okay.
过去了，那些个事情都过去了。
Right, exactly.
艾老师，这个故事很有意思。我觉得雅各当年他骗他的爸爸，是不是？
Yeah.
现在他被他的儿子骗。但是不一样的是结局，雅各的爸爸没有等到一个很好的结局，他的儿子一个逃亡了，对不对？
Yeah.
但是雅各等到一个很好的结局，他的一家团聚了。
Right, and so it's a. How do we say it in English? Everybody lived happily ever after. Or something like that. Okay, listen, that's about all the time we have for the moment here. Okay, now Joseph goes or asks his father Jacob to come to Egypt. He makes the long trip, 很长的路途. He meets his son whom he thought was dead for so many years. And they hug each other. And what do you think? Oh, and you just shake your hand, right? Oh no. They hug each other. My son, you're still alive. And for the father, I'm sure there are a lot of emotions, 很多不同的感情感受. I mean, for the brothers who had been so bad, 他就出卖他的弟弟. I mean, it's just so many ideas. It's better than a good story. It's a fantastic story. For the father, it is enough. 对爸爸来说啦，已经足够. He is old, 他已经老了. Now he can face death. 他可以面对这个死亡 because his dead son is alive. 他已经死的儿子是活的. And that to me and to him was simply awesome. Joseph makes arrangements for the family to live in a farming area so that they can take care of their livestock. Joseph 就安排家里的人住在 farming area 这个农区 so they can take care of their livestock. Livestock means animals. They're animals like sheep, 羊, 牛, cows, So they are going to live in this special area. Then Joseph does something else. Joseph presents some of his brothers to the king. He presents 带一些哥哥们给这个法老王，就是埃及王就认识。Finally, he presents his father. Whoa! 最后 he presents 他是带他的爸爸，已经130岁。It's a little hard for us to realize that people live for so long. Do you know anybody that lives to 130 years? Neither do I. That's very, very old. I mean, it's rare to be even 100 years old. So, first he shows his brothers to the king, 给他介绍. Then he presents, 然后就介绍他的爸爸，130岁的爸爸. They settle down. What is it? They settle down in the land the king of Egypt has given them. So actually the king gave them this special land. I find it interesting because the Egyptian people did not like livestock, and they did not like sheep, and they did not like shepherds, 这个牧羊人. So the king said, okay, you can live here in this one area. And he gave it's quite a large area. Okay? And even though the famine, 饥荒继续下去, guess what? The famine continues for another 5 years. 还有5年, they have enough to eat. They have enough to eat. Going on. While Joseph was very busy dealing with all the business of Egypt. 当约瑟很忙于处理埃及的事情 Okay? See? He is solving, but he has to work. He can't be with the family. Of course, he has to work. So while he is doing his work, I'm sure he spent time with his father catching up on all the family news that he had missed. 肯定他花了 I should have said a lot of time. 不少时间 he spent time with his father. Okay, what does it mean to catch up on family news? First of all, translate family news. Family news, 家庭的消息他所错过的 Of course, he missed it because he was in Egypt. He was in the jail, and then he was in the palace, and all these things. Okay, but what does it mean catching up on? That means that they were simply talking 弥补所错过的消息 Okay? 弥补 catch up on. That just means that you missed something and now you start to catch up on or to learn what you missed. 你所错过的你开始弥补过来 Okay. How wonderful was the end of what started as a 悲剧 tragic story 悲剧 Okay. But it had a wonderful end 非常奇妙非常好的结局 In this case, it's a wonderful end to a tragic story. Okay? But more important were the lessons that everyone learned. Trust me. 不管是哪一个人，哥哥们，约瑟他自己本身等等，他们都这个学了一些教训。Very, very, very, very useful. Among the most important thing is always do the right thing and never lie. 不要说谎 Okay? And these are some of the lessons that we needed to learn. Now we're going to go to a little section called Words You Need to Know. Words you need to know. Stay by for the next section. Okay, thanks for joining us for Words You Need to Know. We're going to start with a very dramatic word. Dramatic, what does that mean?
戏剧化，就像那个戏剧一样，哇，很多高潮让人很紧张啊，很集中去看它呀。
Yeah, and we use this a lot, Lena. Dramatic. It's a
Dramatic.
very dramatic story, like that. The next one is celebrate.
庆祝
To celebrate my birthday or to celebrate anything.
New Year.
New Year, yeah, the New Year. 这个新年
对，庆祝新年，庆祝您的生日，是不是？
Right. Okay, the next one is to settle down. What does settle down mean?
这个也是我们常用的，就是说啊，他们安定下来了，安居或者是定居在哪一个地方了。
Excellent, excellent. And so we settle down in a new place. And then finally and quickly, we said to catch up on all the family news.
Catch up 是在说弥补，那也就是说，Joseph 他要弥补很多他错过的一些家里面发生的事情。
Yeah, so he didn't hear it, and now he wants to hear his dad tell him the stories. Thanks for joining us for Words You Need to Know. Well, we've talked about a very interesting story, right? A dead son lives. We've seen the ups and downs in this story. And a lot of people learned a lot of lessons. Even Joseph learned a few lessons. 得了一些教训. But now we come to the end of the story. And the father finds out his son is still alive. Quite a story. 相当有意思的一个故事. Okay? So now we're coming to the end. And we have one more little lesson. And it's called From Garden to Coffin. 棺材. I wonder what's going to happen. You'll have to join us next time to see what happens.
That's all for today, and thanks for watching. If you like Ancient Tales for Today, please visit atft.chinesehope.tv. You may also contact us by writing to ancienttalesfortoday@gmail.com. Again, that's ancienttalesfortoday@gmail.com. Tell your friends about Ancient Tales for Today. See you next time.